What is going on with my sleepy gamers? I hope all is well with everyone. Today we are going to go over some recent events that have happened amongst the Resident Evil community in terms of leaks, discussing protagonists, expanding details on location, story, and so on. We're going to talk about everything we know about Resident Evil 9. Without further ado, open your briefcase, manage your ammo, leave your safe room as we get ready to uncover all the leaks we know. If you guys watched my first video discussing my opinion on the slew of Resident Evil 9 leaks, you would know all the ones that I, alongside the internet, have talked about and explained the possibility of it not being true due to the lack of credibility from the leaker. And in this case, we are going solely based off of the possibility of it being true as well as the credibility of the leakers. In October 2023, the focus amongst the leakers was none other than Dusk Golem, whose name has been up in the air with the involvement of the leaks. With this one explaining how it would conclude the Winter Saga that began with Resident Evil 7, as well as a birth of a new saga. If anything, this is one leak that may definitely be the truest from Dusk Golem, as Capcom confirmed the original director Koji Nakanishi is coming back to not just direct but become the lead development of Resident Evil 9, or as the leak said, Resident Evil Apocalypse. One rumor that is constantly up in the atmosphere of information that we have been getting is the setting being set in South Asia, as the island inspired by Singapore. Originally it was stated that the game would take place in the summer of 2025, but we don't know how true that is just yet. Now, as far as the remakes, Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica are still on track for being the next remakes. So that is pretty much the gist of information that is still up in the air and not have been taken back by Dusk Golem. And we're going to get into Resident Evil 9 and the recent events. Now that we're all caught up, let's do a deep dive into some recent events that I and you may have missed and get us all caught up to date. With the recent state of play that occurred almost a month ago, and a month or some change, February 12th was it. Fans were speculating a Resident Evil 9 reveal trailer, or at least a teaser of sort. Article on comicbook.com published by Tyler Fisher. The new Resident Evil 9 update more specifically comes the way of Dusk Golem, a well-known source when it comes to Resident Evil. While Dusk Golem intel has proven to be shaky in the past, when it comes to Resident Evil specifically, they have proven fairly reliable. Commenting on fears that the Resident Evil 9 release date must be far away if Capcom is already revealing games releasing in 2026, such as Onimusha Way of the Sword, but not Resident Evil 9. Dusk Golem noted the game's marketing campaign won't be as long as other Capcom games because it doesn't need to be due to the popularity and brand recognition of the series. Adding to this, the Capcom insider noted that the game did actually receive a delay and was supposed to be revealed last year. How much it has been delayed, it is not said, but it was clearly enough to not be ready to go for this February state of play either. Balancing out this bad news, the Capcom insider notes Resident Evil 9 has been in development longer than any other Resident Evil game, citing that it is really ambitious and huge. I guess I could see this being true as Capcom's development teams are broken up into divisions, as I stated in my last video, but I really don't see Capcom not having a long marketing campaign due to their game's popularity, no matter what. Just like its previous entries and remakes, they will most certainly have a huge campaign for this game, as, come on, it's like the 9th installment. Dusk Golem also stated that Capcom has been working on Resident Evil 9 since 2019. Now, to me, this does not make sense. At the same time, it does. Capcom are pretty good at juggling multiple game properties at once and outsourcing, using some of the same assets from a variety of different RE titles and games. So it's not as far-fetched as one may think, but I don't know, as this was the same year before COVID or around that time, so anything could have happened. There were tons of work shortage, so who really knows? Plus, why would Capcom work on RE9 title 2 years before the release of RE8 while managing the Resident Evil 4 remake? To me, that doesn't make sense. So, I don't know, maybe you guys have the answers. You would comment that in the comment section below. I'm sure you guys remember the hype of the apparent protagonist returning for this next installment. Likely, if you watch mine or any other YouTube channel that's discussed Jill Valentine returning for this epic adventure, well, apparently we got Reverse Uno by Dust Golem, as he claims now that isn't true. Before, Dust Golem explained a rumor to be a section with Jill Valentine that was going to be in Resident Evil 9 where she's in the hospital, and it's no longer happening. In a tweet he posted back in January 22nd of this year, he stated, "There's a screenshot of something I said that'll probably float around, I predict. So gonna say it, Jill doesn't play a major role in Resident Evil 9, unfortunately. This current hospital rumor floating around is 100% bullshit. Crushing the Jill hopium now before wrong expectations are set. Wait for actual Resident Evil 9 news. Nearly every Resident Evil 9 rumor that's been floating around has been bullshit. What's not bullshit is Silent Hill F did get rated in Korea today, and that's exciting. What I think is interesting is the gameplay mechanics that hasn't been taken back by Dust Golem and are apparently going to be in the game according to his say-so, are Capcom's insider. A overview on some leaks on a website called IndiaTodayGaming.com talks about the leaks and storyline. Details are murky, but leaks hint at a narrative set 4 years after the events of Resident Evil Village. Our heroes, Leon and Jill, are dispatched to investigate a mysterious company dabbling in bioweapons on the aforementioned island. The plot thickens as they confront evolved zombies and shadowy figure also known as Mr. Simon. Interesting. Themes of infection, hallucinations, and the ever-looming threat of bioterrorism are expected to play a central role. These leaks are all over the place. Some are still involving Jill, and people are still saying that Jill's going to be in there. So kind of like that game where you whisper something into someone else's ear, and then they whisper it into another ear, and it goes a full around circle, and it gets all twisted and shit. That's what's happening. What's interesting is the new antagonist named Mr. Simon, another stalker foe who will follow Leon or Jill, if she's even in the game, around the map. Another thing to note that I'm excited about, if executed properly, is the fact of a semi-open world concept like that of Resident Evil 4 Remake alongside Resident Evil 8. In my previous Resident Evil 9 video, I explained how this can work if they use the same formula as Resident Evil 4 Remake, as it really expanded upon the original while implementing some similarities from Resident Evil 8. The next installment, I said it could be Capcom's biggest game to date in terms of size and budget, so with rumors, all these characters, zombies, map size, this makes sense if it's true. So here are my thoughts. I think everything so far sounds great, but Dust Golem, from a lot of fans, are saying he isn't that much of a credible source like he used to be. I always say in every video involving leaks to take everything with a grain of salt, as these aren't set in stone. What I can say, if used in concept, that these ideas can make for a very interesting story. You know, I do like the sound of Leon and Jill returning. Of course, they're a fan favorite. Leon is my favorite Resident Evil character. And I also like the fact of a stalker enemy following you around, as that has been a trope in the Resident Evil series since like Resident Evil 3. You know, whatever may become of Resident Evil 9 won't matter, as I'm sure Capcom is cooking up some serious shit. But yeah, I'm playing it on day one. Well, that's my take on it anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. What do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, or I'll stalk your ass like Mr. X. Catch your Z's, count your sheep, and go to sleep. Peace out.